Imagine a world where time drifts slowly. A world where music carries you away. Experience Pure Moods, the perfect soundtrack for your way of life. Direct from Europe, this multi-platinum collection has won the hearts of millions. Set adrift with the timeless pleasures of tubular bells. Or take a trip into the unknown with the X-Files theme. No other collection gives you the feeling of Pure Moods. To order Pure Moods, call the number on your screen or send check or money order for the amount shown, plus shipping and handling. Rush delivery available. Call now.
TBTL.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
It's Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
This is a place where people can never have to have contact with another human being if they don't want to, and enjoy a live show.
What's up, turds? It's Jimo from AT&T Superstore. Right now, you can share your podcast for free with any of your top 5 faves on our Small Business in the Arts program. Sign up and get your audio art project out there online and get out there. Just don't forget to be yourself. Call 1-800-AT&T now and tell them Jimo sent you.
I don't know who that is, and I don't care to find out.
I love these guys. They make funny with their mouths.
All right, hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Friday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
This whole conversation bothers me.
My name's Luke Burbank. I am your host, coming to you from the Madrona Hills studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where it is just an absolutely gorgeous day once again.
California got sunshine.
Looking like we're going to be in the mid-80s out here. It's just going to be absolutely ideal for presenting yet another podcast here, which is what we do. Today is episode 4783 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
It's Jimothee's world. We just live in it, obviously. He is the animal of the summer.
How about like pranking an animal?
But he showed up somewhere last night that I was not expecting. And I've had an about face on something. There's something that I denigrated on the show some weeks ago, and I spent an hour riveted by this thing last night that happened to involve Jimothee. We could talk about that. And turns out there is a program that you can put on your phone that if someone is trying to take your phone and they're trying to force you to put your passcode in, you can, and it will erase your entire phone. It's called a duress code.
Isn't that for techno geeks with spreadsheet?
It's the subject of a law enforcement issue, or a customs issue that we'll talk about too, time permitting today. We've always got time for this guy, longest running Cobra of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
I say, what's up, dog?
He's Andrew Walsh, and he is joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. I was a little distracted there. Did you recognize, were you listening to that intro tape by any chance? I had pulled that tape somewhat randomly before we started recording, and I had forgotten what the drops were in the little montage. And that, what is his name? Jamo from T-Mobile trying to sell us some sort of podcaster deal.
Who does that character?
Do you know who that is?
Is that Jane Wickline?
No. That is our friend Nikki.
Is that Nikki?
That's Nikki, yes. I forgot that she used to call.
So great.
She used to call and prank the voicemail
for a while with that,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Didn't she go into the bathroom and call you?
No. This is a totally.
That's unrelated?
It's not unrelated, but it's much more complicated than that. I was at dinner one time. This is a complicated story. I was at dinner one time with Nikki and Durs and Genevieve. It was just the four of us. And I used the restroom. And I don't know what was on my mind at the time, but I realized I was sort of muttering to myself in the bathroom, kind of probably an intrusive thought kind of situation, where I was probably muttering to myself, like, you idiot, or something like that. And then as I'm washing my hands, I realized there was another person in the bathroom. It was like one of those small one stall, one urinal bathrooms, and I was using the urinal, and I didn't know that there was probably somebody in the stall hearing me swear, just Robert Durst style. And so I come back out and I tell this story to Genevieve, Nikki, and Durs. I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened to me. I'm such an idiot. And then I got a very sincere voicemail a few days later on the TBTL voicemail line just saying, hey, I'm a listener, and I don't know, I just heard something really disturbing in the bathroom the other day, and I didn't know who to tell. I thought I'd tell you guys. I was just doing my business in the stall, and some guy just came in and was just swearing at himself under his breath. And of course, it was Nikki using a voice changer.
Like a voice modulator?
Yes, exactly. And she did get me with that for a while until I pieced together what had happened. So
that's not JMO.
That's not JMO. JMO is some character she just created who I think works in a mall. I'm not exactly sure.
At the T-Mobile store,
That's my understanding.
We need to get some. We always love to have Mort, my agent, call the show. And maybe we can try to get JMO to call in a few times from the T-Mobile store.
I will reach out to JMO. I have some contacts there. So anyway, that was just very unusual for me because I hadn't played that intro in a while, and I totally had forgotten about that tape. And I'm just over here laughing my ass off during the intro. I would like to hear some. You did a good job of teasing some of these things on the show today, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I'm very curious, though. Again, you can hold this off for later if you want, but I'm curious about what you've changed your thoughts on.
Well, we can jump right in. A few weeks ago, or probably a few months ago, as everyone knows if they listen to the show, one of our favorite topics is complaining about watching Mariners baseball games,
of course,
because of the shifting sands of different streaming platforms that even though we've paid good money to watch this team hit, as it was written about in the Seattle Times today, rock bottom. You don't usually see that in the headline.
Really?
Mariners hit rock bottom. A Mike Vorel piece.
Vorel, interesting. Yeah, you don't see that
it wasn't Cold Take Calkins.
Wow. Wow.
But so the way that I now, on my television, the way that I have to watch the Mariners, because my TV will not integrate the MLB.com app. I don't know why. It's a giant computer screen. It has every other streaming app. It doesn't allow you to have MLB.com. So you were nice enough to give me your late mother's Roku.
No, right, of course.
You were nice enough to erase
I should tell you that it's haunted, by the way. Did I not tell you that?
Actually, that's kind of, sort of related to this story, I guess, in a roundabout way. But so I have to use this Roku to watch the game, and as I was setting it up, I told you that I was really struck by how kind of corny the Roku home screen is.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it just looks really antiquated. It's just what is this? It looks like a screensaver.
So do you think most people know what it looks like?
How would you describe it?
So I think you're very right to say that it looks like a screensaver. It rolls across your screen from right to left. And it's it'll be various sort of scenes. I think the one that is default is like a cityscape, right? And you see sort of the outline of a city at night. But then there's all these little corny things that are going on in it. And it's don't you even see below the ground too? You can sort of see the skyline, but can you see people tunneling underneath as well?
Not on whatever they were doing last night on the Roku, but here's where I'm going with this. I thought, because I wasn't looking closely the first time, I was just trying to furiously get to my Mariners watching. So I just saw this kind of very 90s looking, or maybe early 2000s looking kind of computer screen. Yeah, it's kind of going, there's a bay that's like San Francisco Bay, but it's kind of an amalgam of all these different cities. It's got something that's vaguely Space Needle-ish, but it's got something that's kind of like the Bay Bridge.
And it's filled with Easter eggs of little scenes from movies, right?
And that's what I didn't know the first time, because I just wasn't really clocking it. I was just like, get out of here, weird screen. And then you told me, I think on the show, you're like, oh, it has movie jokes in it. I was like, okay, whatever. Cut to last night, another disappointing Mariners loss. And I'm still on Roku because I had been watching it on there. And I'm just puttering around. I'm cleaning up the dinner dishes. It reverts back to the home screen. At about the time, Andrew, I decided to eat a gummy. And let me tell you.
You don't usually play in that space.
I'm trying to explore that space more. I feel like if I could lock in on if I could figure out my relationship with a moderate amount of THC, as just kind of like in lieu of having a beer or something. I think it would work for me. The problem is I'm very inexperienced. I tend to get a little paranoid. But
the problem for me is the in lieu part. Any idea how strong the gummy was that you took? Do you know milligrams? Is it standard 10 milligrams?
I don't want to bust anyone out, but it was given to be my sister-in-law. My brother's wife had left it here like months ago. I didn't even know if it was good anymore. She again, I don't think she'd be embarrassed for me to mention, we'll have a gummy now and then. And I was telling her, I want to get into this stuff, but I don't know how to, and I haven't ever found one. She goes, this one's pretty good. It, it doesn't make you paranoid. It's like whatever. So I've just had this loose gummy, in my life for ever since whatever they stayed with me. And I finally took it, and God damn, that Roku screen is amazing. I was like...
Would you say that you just opened the doors of perception, my friend?
I am the Lizard King, Andrew. This is the end, beautiful friend. I was so geeked out on the Easter eggs, man.
What did you find? Because I haven't really
the list is long. Then I was on Reddit pages. There's whole subreddits about when the thing gets updated.
Well, tell me, because I'm the one who told you I thought it was cool, and I know there's Easter eggs, but I haven't really done a deep dive on it. And I've always thought like, oh yeah, I'll bet you there's some good online discourse about like what is actually going on in those screens. I see it mostly.
Gummy enjoyers have locked on.
I usually see it at the Eagles because it'll be like in between movies, and then somebody will forget, I got to put on a new movie or whatever.
I think it would be a fun guessing game with a group of people, honestly, because what it is so for instance, in this bay, there's like, imagine San Francisco Bay. There's like a little boat out there. It's a trawler, and there's like something in the water, and like it took me 30 passes to realize, that's the Jaws boat.
Jaws boat. Okay, gotcha. And is there an upside down ship too for what is the big upside down movie? Upside down boat movie.
Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah, isn't there a Poseidon Adventure? Maybe it's in a different screen.
I think there's a Kraken. There's some kind of sea beast grabbing a boat. There's also like a stern wheeler, like an old fashioned kind of like the kind of boat that has the paddle wheel on the back. Yeah. I don't really know what that.
Oh, that is. Wouldn't that be Cape Fear?
Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Cape Fear.
Oh, maybe that's Cape Fear. See.
I've never even seen Cape Fear, but I know that from the Simpsons parody of Cape Fear, so I could be totally wrong on that. Does Cape Fear actually have a bow with a wheel on it, or is that just the Simpsons version?
I'll take it. I'll go ahead and endorse that. There's a I don't want to ruin this for people if they want to play this game at home tonight with their gummies and loved ones, but there's what I was really proud of, and this was towards the end of the night. There's a restaurant that has a neon sign in the window, and it looks like a hand is grabbing spaghetti, and I realized it's The Godfather. It's the cover of the Mario Puzo book, where it's kind of holding the marionette strings.
Nice. Yeah, now you're making me want to. Can we cut the show off early today?
But you know what drew me in? Guess who's already there, buddy?
Guess who's already on the screen?
On the Roku screen. Jimothee.
Really? They updated the screen to include Jimothee already?
They have updated the Roku screen to include Jimothee. That's what had me. That's what I was looking at, and that's the only reason I stopped and started observing the screen. I was like, "Is that freaking Jimothee on there?"
I didn't realize that they were so nimble. I'm not even. I know that sounds crazy, but that.
I'm going to send you
blows my mind. And now, as you send this to me, though, you've confirmed that this was Jimothee. This wasn't just the gummy talking.
Well, I have a photo of it.
Did you go online and type in Roku Jimothee? Because I'm doing that.
No, I was too high for
that. That's great. Yeah.
No,
wow, that's what
Jimothee.
Finally got you into a one screen experience.
It took It took a gummy and Jimothee to finally get me to just focus on something. I texted you, so I know that's not the ideal, but I would be quite shocked if it's not Jimothee.
Well, here's the deal. I haven't gotten your photo yet, and I was typing into.
Are we the only show talking about this?
Well, I'm kind of surprised there's not more online chatter about it, but I am now seeing a headline from USA Today. Where is Jimothee showing up? Google, Minecraft, Roku, and more. So yeah, apparently people are sneaking them in. Did you text me that thing? Is that where I should see the?
I texted you the photo.
Nice.
And I have to say, like, considering I was splayed out on my couch looking at my TV, photos. This morning I got up and I was like, I wonder how that photo was. And it was like, actually, it's okay. It actually does the job. It's in focus. I caught him because you're right. It's a moving. It's sort of scrolling, I guess, right to left.
Oh, hell yeah. That's
definitely
our
Jimothee,
boy.
right?
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
And everybody knows what Jimothee is at this point, right? The raccoon with the short spine.
Boy, did that ever take off. And we were in Valley City, so we didn't go hard on it. And, it's one of those kinds of stories that is kind of cute, but then almost as, quickly as it pops up, it's sort of... I mean, the one nice thing is that nobody's going to milkshake duck Jimothee, right?
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, basically...
Jimothee has some very disturbing posts on Reddit. Posted
It's one of those
12 years ago.
I just saw this headline in the New York Post. Oh, I wanted to tell you about another New York Post headline, too. But this... Just on the subject of, like, no human being's life can survive the scrutiny of the internet. And granted, this is the New York Post, which is a very, very annoying conservative. They're always looking for reasons to basically confirm the worldview of Donald Trump. But I just saw this headline this morning so you've heard of the whole thing of this guy that was running for Senate in Maine, Graham Plattner, who had all kinds of issues in his background and finally dropped out of the race. So they go off the Maine Democratic whatever folks, they go and they have a little mini convention and they get their new guy, Troy Jackson. And he's like I think he used to be like maybe the head of the Democrat like state legislators, either the state Senate or the state House there in Maine. He's a farmer. He's quiet. He's not as charismatic as Graham Plattner was, but he's they vetted him this time. And then I see this headline in the Post today. He had 2 children with his second cousin.
Oh, no. I'm also seeing, because I was just Googling just instinctively while you were saying his name, and I see Troy Jackson ran an anonymous account to troll Republicans online, and I'm trying to figure out if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, I want to know what the trolls were, yeah.
But, the other headline that I have to... This is kind of convoluted. Oh, the thing I was going to say about Jimothee was just that it's the kind of story that is quite charming, but then it almost collapses under its own weight pretty quickly of like, it's Jimothee Day at the Mariners, and it's, the declaration of, of it officially being Jimothee Day in Seattle. And again, I said this on Livewire because we did a best news segment about this, and I was saying the thing that a lot of people have said, which is, and this is not super insightful of me, but it's like, it's the kind of story that gets popular because we need that kind of story right now.
Sure, yeah.
Sort of the
Although, I mean, don't you feel, though, that, like, there's always those stories like it, and you and I always react the same way to it? Like, you and I are just so cemented in our Gen Xiness in this particular way.
I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I think you have pulled me slightly more over to that side of the line.
Cynicism? This feels to me like, even when we first started working together, and I'll leave some of the... Well, it's a bad comparison, but I remember when I was sort of applying for the job at Cairo Radio to produce the show that you and Dave Ross were already doing. I remember there were certain stories that were like, yeah, they're pop culture and there's fun and there's stuff to talk about, but then there's the stuff that's just sort of like, yeah, it's cute, but it got way too cute way too quickly, and there's just like, I don't know, like the lifespan of these things for you and I feel like is a little bit shorter and always has been. Maybe I've turned you into more of an asshole, though. I don't know. I'll take it.
No. I guess what I think is like in the first year of TBTL, we would have been like, I would have had a Jimothee tattoo.
Okay, yeah, maybe you guys would have embraced it more.
Part of that was because we were on
point,
commercial radio. Yeah. We were trying to appeal. It was a slightly different energy. I think we went a little harder on things, and stayed with them, and I mean, it's the reason why people still send us stuff about juggalos and things. Like I think just the aging process has kind of caused me to have a little bit. I guess I tire of some of these topics a little bit quicker than I did back in the day. I guess for what that's worth. I don't want to blame that on you or anything.
No, but can I just say though, in our defense, I think it depends on the kind of story too. Like you and I hey, listen, man, there is nobody more dedicated to saying I don't have a Doug on this flight than me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there are certain things that, like, if there's something there, we stick with it. It's just that cute raccoon that's caught on video. There's just not a lot to do with that after a certain point. I will say, speaking of the Mariners, I did think it was really cool that they included him in the salmon run. Did you follow that? I thought that was a pretty good integration.
I will be honest with you. I wish that they could have got the person being Jimothee to, I don't know what the exact term for it is, but to run on all fours.
Oh,
because
interesting.
The Jimothee raccoon. First of all, clearly somebody at 3 p.m. on that day was driving around Soto trying to find like a pillow or something to stuff into a raccoon outfit so as to Jimothee it.
Son of a gun is like, I'm on deadline here.
Some intern, some Mariners intern, probably works for our friend Greg Green, who's just like being sent hither and yon to like, get me a Jimothee costume stat. And like, it's actually really hard for us humans to kind of like, kind of ambulate, move on all fours. I remember when I was like playing high school soccer, we'd have to do these bear crawls, which are exactly what they sound like. You're on your hands and your feet, but you're never actually just standing up and going bipedal. And we would have to bear crawl the entire soccer field like multiple times. And it's like kind of shocking how hard that was.
Yeah. And didn't some people do the crab walk too? I mean, that was less of a drill and more of just a fun trick, right? But
the crab walk, was
isn't
that like
where
a
you like on
thing?
Aren't you on your back?
Oh,
You're doing like a bear.
I don't think I knew. Yeah, that thing, dude. I feel like it wasn't exactly that, but we did have a girl. She was doing the President's Physical Fitness Challenge. She was running and picking up the erasers, the shuttle run, and she fell back into the crab walk position and broke both of her wrists.
You mean just accidentally fell?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Into the crab walk position, broke both wrists. Jolie Arneson.
Oh, Jolie.
Rough stuff. Okay. But I did like that the Mariners had a Jimothee in there. And like I said, this Jimothee thing, I'm very happy for all of us to take joy in it because, again, particularly this week in Seattle and just everything, it's like I'm good with it. Now, back to the New York Post real quick. This is a story that I'm sure you're not clocking, but it's kind of interesting. It started with, I don't know if this was like last week or when it exactly happened, but there were these two lawyers, right? A man and a woman, and they're in Central Park on a bench. And they're kissing. It's actually, I think, kind of charming. It's kind of cute. It's like, it sort of looked like teenage love, but the guy's in a suit and the woman is very well dressed.
The lawyer guy?
What's that?
I think I have her.
Have you seen this guy?
No, I only caught a little corner of this story because, like, kind of downdraft of people talk about it. He's just like, he's a lawyer, right? He's like wearing a suit.
They're both lawyers.
Okay.
Both
You just said that. You just said that. Yeah, sorry.
And so this is the kind of the most 2026 story that could ever happen, which is two lawyers are canoodling. This has been a great week for canoodle. If there had been some kind of a poly market bet on is canoodle going to really worm its way into the news headlines this week, it would have been a smart bet. But these two lawyers are canoodling on this park bench in Central Park, and not doing anything. They're not, they're not disrobing. They're not being like over the top. Other than you don't maybe always see, like, I think the man's like in his early 50s. I don't know exactly how old the woman is, but you don't always see people of that age in a suit and well put together, like kind of making out on a park bench.
Making out, yeah.
And so then you have a content creator, TikToker, who's just wandering through Central Park, and he is some guy who, I guess, is like known to sort of like kind of provoke people or mess with people. Out. That's a whole part of TikTok are just these. It's mostly guys, young guys who will go into Home Depot and just like mess with people and then just get people really mad at them or whatever and post it. It's kind of rage baiting is the term they use for it.
I don't like that.
So I don't like it either. This random TikToker is walking through Central Park, and this looks like it's also like in a kind of a slightly off the beaten path area of Central Park. And because he's a content creator, he's got his phone out and he's taping these two lawyers making out, and he's saying to them, get a motel or something. He's like, get a room to them or whatever. And he just thought, oh, I'm just making content. I see two adults making out on a park bench. But then you can tell that when the male lawyer turns around and he sees there's a phone in his face, he is like shocked. He's trying to kind of like block, like wave the phone off. He doesn't get like hostile because he's a very high paid, probably pretty smart attorney. But you can tell like immediately, oh, these two people are not supposed to be canoodling.
Yeah.
And this is not something the TikToker knew about. The TikToker was not sent there. And everyone's comparing this to the like Coldplay concert couple where there was more canoodling that was caught on the Diamond Vision or whatever, the fan cam. And those two people had their whole lives fall apart. This was another just like completely like if this TikToker isn't walking through Central Park, none of us know about it. The canoodling continues.
Yeah.
But it turns out, I think both of these lawyers were married to other people, are married to other people, and in the case of the male lawyer, he had just signed a contract to move to a new law firm in New York that, if I have this right, is the highest paying law firm in the world.
Jeez.
So the guy who's doing the canoodling on the bench is he's leaving his high paying law firm job that he has, and he's on his way to an even higher paying law firm that he's going to go to. That contract appears to have now been voided because of the canoodling. There's speculation about what might happen to the woman who he was making out with, also an attorney. They worked at the same place. These were the people who I think defended Sam Altman in his lawsuit, or the lawsuit that was brought by Elon Musk against OpenAI. Elon Musk basically said, hey, look, I helped start OpenAI as a nonprofit, and then you greedy bastards bought me out of the company and then made it a for-profit. And he had this huge lawsuit, which he lost, by the way. These were the people that were defending Sam Altman and OpenAI from Elon Musk. That's the level of law that these folks are practicing.
And now he's out of a job.
He's probably out of a job, or at least I'm sure he'll be able to practice law. It's not illegal what he did.
Yeah.
But it sounds like this new law firm doesn't want the smoke. I mean, as far as smoke goes, it's pretty tame, other than this appears to be infidelity. But this is where I'm going with all of this. Now it turns out that the bosses, this is the headline, or this is one headline from the New York Post, bosses of canoodling Central Park lawyers were also hooking up. And now they've got pictures of these two other attorneys, Bill Savitt and Sarah Eddy, who work on the same team that was defending Sam Altman. They were also apparently having an affair, which is now coming out into the public. But what I really love about this is because now you have 4 different people from this law firm who are maybe having relationships that are not particularly appropriate, and they're all lawyers. It allowed the New York Post to today run the headline, "Pro Boner."
Houston, we have a boner.
That's pretty blue.
Pro Boner.
Wow.
That's a pretty solid headline for this story.
Solid. Well, yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, so to speak.
But also, like, I know that they have very funny, or you know what I mean, like a very.
It's the only reason I read their horrible slanted rag.
But don't you feel like that one is especially like sexual, even by their standards?
Pro boner?
Yeah.
I guess it's hard.
It doesn't seem like they've crossed a new line with that one for you.
It's hard for me to say because I find almost everything they write offensive.
Yeah, right.
But for different reasons. It's like it's a perfect. And I always mention this when I mention the New York Post on this show. It always comes with this caveat of like, I hate myself for reading it, but they do have this weird. The net that they're sort of running through the water does catch stories like this that maybe aren't making it in the Times. Although I don't think we've seen. I do think we will see a big Times write up about this at some point. This sort of like, I don't know what you call it, the legitimate coverage of this story. But everything else in the Post, it's just like it's like looking into Donald Trump's mind. It's so unsettling.
Yeah.
It's like every op-ed is about how like crazy woke Dems created the Democratic Socialists, and now they're coming home to roost. Now those crows are coming home to roost.
Yeah.
And it's like every time there's a crime that's allegedly committed by somebody who doesn't have their immigration paperwork in order, it's just like it's the biggest story. Unfortunately, peace and love. It's like it's basically like some of the talk hosts over on a certain radio station in Seattle we used to work at. It's like where they get all their stories from.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I don't spend a lot of time in that headspace generally. I mean, I'm over in my bubble of Ezra Klein and Pod Save America and things like Chris Hayes, things like that. So because I don't watch Fox News, I don't do those, I don't engage in that kind of stuff, which I don't know, maybe I'm not taking in all the information. The only exception to that is I read the New York Post every single day, and it makes me angry every single
but
day.
It also
and then
makes you laugh
in a while we get pro boner.
I mean, I know this isn't your point, and I don't want to just take this to the typical place where any talk show would, but I mean, it is pretty astounding, not just like the impact on these two people who actually got caught on camera in the park. Like, that's one thing, but like, because of that, that just focused the eye of Sauron on this particular company, and now people are. It's a little bit like the Rossini thing, the Diana Rossini. This is the sports reporter who is having the affair with my colleague Mike Vrabel, the coach of the
former colleague Mike Vrabel. That was some canoodling as well.
Exactly, and a lot years and years and years of canoodling. While it turns out they were both married and had kids,
He may have canoodled a baby right into her.
Exactly, that she named Mike. Like, it's just Mike. And so I understand. Like, listen, that is when a journalist, and listen again, I was always a fan of hers, and so I feel a little icky doing this. But in any case, like, that is a conflict when there is a reporter who is secretly having a long-term affair with one of the main people that she's covering. Like, that's a conflict, and it should be talked about and in from a media perspective and what have you. I'm not in it for like the destroying of lives or what have you. But having said that, it makes a little bit more sense when it started with like a couple of photos that leaked of them like sharing sometimes, not like. It sounds like I'm trying to make it sound like they were doing some real canoodling. They were just like sort of holding hands and stuff and enjoying some hot tub time together.
It was almost believable. If not for the hand holding, it would have been believable because their initial cover story was like, we were with different groups of friends and happened to randomly be at this, wellness spa somewhere. Yeah. And we just know each other from our professional lives. But then there was like a picture of them with like interlaced hands. And I swear to God, it was the interlacing
of the hands at
fingers.
Sunset.
Like, I've never once done that with someone who I just work with. And so the story started to fall apart pretty fast. And then all this other weird, just pictures of them at bars together. And
yeah, exactly. Going back years and years and them renting boats together and trying not to show up in photos and stuff.
Using, in fact, assumed names.
Going back to something here, talking about the lawyers who were canoodling in the park and drawing a comparison, the photo of Rossini and Vrabel from the original set of photos when they were, caught or whatever word you want to use, the one of them in the hot tub, I was like, well, they do look sort of like friends. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting next to each other in a hot tub. And it's like, yeah, because that is a relationship that's been going on for a decade. Like, that's the difference. You know what I mean? As opposed to like a brand new couple that is stepping out and they're just
can't
filled.
Keep their hands off
exactly.
each other.
It's kind of like, in a certain way, it's
canoodling in the park.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
if you would have seen Rossini and Vrabel in Central Park, they would have both been on their phones.
Right, exactly.
Sitting on a bench.
But when
in year 10 of the relationship,
when people start finding earlier photos of them together out and about at places, like when they're both sitting on those bar stools, there's a lot more like sort of intimate hand touching and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, you can sort of see the fire in a certain way. It's a sweet story. Okay, the point I was trying to make though is there is, you can argue, like some sort of legitimate news coverage story there. And so when the eye of the media is on it, and then people keep pulling threads and more stuff is discovered, that makes sense to me. Speaking of, did you see, like, it was really bummed me out, like, somebody went back and found Rossini talking on a podcast about kind of quasi-bragging about how she got out of a ticket by sort of talking to the cop and telling him all about all of her contacts and how she was like wheeling and dealing when she was on the phone when he pulled her over. And then like somebody's like, wait, she told that story in a podcast. She said she was in Florida or wherever it was. We can find the body cam tape of it. Did you end up seeing that? Yeah, it's pretty like. And
I saw that body cam tape, or I saw that it was something, and I read a little write up of it. I didn't realize that was how people got there.
Yeah, because she's for people who don't know her, and again, the reason I was a fan of her on talk shows and stuff is she's a very funny, very brash person, though.
Yes.
A lot of elbows, sources. Right, with great sources. And so people, when she's like, "Oh yeah, I got out of a ticket once because of my job, because of who I know or whatever," then somebody is kind of like, "Oh, okay, well." This should be public record then, and so people start pulling. Anyway, all of that sort of makes sense to me, but I don't listen. I'm not going out of my way to like ruin my weekend worrying about these high-paid lawyers who are caught having extramarital affairs.
Yeah,
but it is a little bit weird when you are. I mean, again, these people are in a tier of class and wealth that I can't even imagine, I'm sure, but they're still not public figures. You know what I mean? They are people just leading private lives, and suddenly it's kind of like, oh, your employee was caught canoodling. I'm just leaning into it in the park. And now, therefore, everybody who works for this company is kind of like, oh no, are they going to find out about our affair?
We're running a full audit on everyone. Right?
That has
on
nothing to
everyone
do with
associated
ethics, or I mean, it has to do with morality, maybe, but it doesn't have to do with the ethics of your job or your ability to do your job.
Yeah, no, you're right. In a way I don't feel bad for them, but it's also you want to talk about catching strays.
Yeah.
Now there's a picture of these other two attorneys who again are not the initial canoodlers.
Yes.
They're other and they're walking on the street and you can just the look on their face this is a photographer is taking a picture of them. I don't know when this photo was taken. It's a Getty photo. It's Agency France Presse via Getty Images. Maybe these people were just going in to do their lawyer job. They look like they're going, oh shit, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, what? Now we're on the rate. Like they see that they're being photographed by essentially a paparazzi on the streets of, I believe it might be, I think they're in California. So maybe they are just at the trial for this because they were defending Sam Altman. So anyway, all that is to say, like, it would be kind of a bummer if you were just living your own little scandalous life, not trying to bother anyone, and then these two. And there's also something, again, I really don't want to defend people being unfaithful in doing stuff like this, but there's something about the initial event being so kind of wholesome. Like, had they not been married to other people, it's like a guy and a gal on a sunny day in Central Park on their lunch break doing a little canoodling.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they should have gone on a bicycle made for two.
Yeah, right. Or gone in a little boat, a little paddle boat.
Exactly. Like, everything about it is actually kind of quite sweet and innocent, other than the fact that it indicates both of them are married to other people, all of that. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, and again, it's the fact that it's like one of these TikTok rage baiters walked by them.
This is what bothers me. Yeah, just this idea of just like, and I'm just, even before the person knew there was infidelity, just like getting in people's faces and ruining their time, and then potentially ruining a chunk of their life by putting it online and seeing how the world reacts to it. I mean, that is my least favorite thing.
Yeah, I do not have a lot of tolerance for this. For this kind of content creation where it's just all based on just. There is one guy that does a version of this that I do actually kind of like watching. He runs. I think I must have talked about this years ago. This is one of the first weird like TikTok kind of content creators that I started seeing on a regular basis and kind of watching. He runs a thing called Cart Narcs.
Oh yeah. In
when
the
you don't
grocery
return
store
your shopping
lot?
cart.
Yes, yeah.
He has magnets made that say like something. I forget what the magnets say, but they're like, "I'm rude" or something annoying. And what he does is he goes up and he's probably wearing like 3 cameras or whatever. I've never even seen the guy. I've only seen his POV. But if you just leave your shopping cart right next to where your car was parked in the parking lot, which is of course rude and makes everyone else's life harder, he will go up and say like, hey, you got to take your cart back, or why are you being so rude? And then he'll throw this magnet on their car. And it is incredible to watch how angry certain people get about a magnet going on their car. Don't touch my car.
Yeah, there is a sense of like propriety, right? Like, just like people get really defensive about touching their cars.
I kind of feel like because I'm not a car guy, I don't know. I don't think it would bug me that much. I mean, I haven't been in this situation. I also am a careful cart returner, not because I'm worried I'm going to get cart narked, but because I do feel like, what am I going to make the poor 16-year-old kid who works for Safeway have to go track this thing down? Like, come on. Like, it is the minimum that we can do in a society. But I don't think a magnet going on my car would cause me to like sprint through a parking lot at a guy. He's also really fast at running backwards, I think, because he knows exactly. Like, he has a thing that I don't have, which is a good sense of, is it proprioception, my sense of where I am in space relative to other things and people. A lot of the time, I like bump into things or I try to fit things through doors that don't fit. I'm not good at that. He seems to have he knows exactly how close the person can get before he's in actual danger.
That's great.
So he's never rude. He never raises his voice. He's doing kind of like, he has almost this like, notice me, senpai, notice me kind of way of talking that's like, well, you're just being rude, you should take your cart back. And then there's people just getting so mad, and they just can just be like, well, and it was like, I'm gonna kick your ass. Well, why would you do that? I just want you to take your cart back. It's like,
very disarming in a certain way.
It's pretty funny actually. So I don't know if we consider that to be rage baiting. That one doesn't really bother me because I feel like the people who are on the receiving end kind of asked for it. They're not just some random person who was just trying to live their life who's now being messed with.
I will. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. I did something yesterday that I'm very embarrassed about. That I said I will never tell Luke this, but I also was like, it's just perfect TBTL material. So I am just going to martyr myself. I'm just going to throw myself on the content pyre and let you all absolutely just judge me as harshly as you want, because for real, this is...
And now I know how Joan of Arc felt.
What is that?
Now I know how Joan of Arc felt.
Who is that?
That's that's a Morrissey song about Joan of Arc.
Okay.
But then he gets all weird on it. He goes, as the flames rose to her Roman nose and her Walkman started to melt. Where are we going with this, Morrissey?
She's wearing a Walkman.
Yeah, that part doesn't seem, strictly speaking, historic.
I mean, I value human life, but also, I mean, those Walkmen are rare. I mean,
at that point?
Yeah. Okay.
1300s France or whatever?
Yeah, especially that. All right.
Okay.
Yesterday, I'm driving back from somewhere, and I'm driving through kind of my old neighborhood of Roosevelt, and I'm on one of those roads. It's 12th Ave, for those who know. And it's a two-way street, or I'm sorry, a two-lane road that is a one-way street. So in other words, 2 lanes of traffic going in the same direction, right? And so
are you on Roosevelt at this point?
No, it's 12th. And so,
okay, 12th.
So Roosevelt is 2 lanes of traffic going the other way, a block away, and then this is 2 lanes of traffic going north.
Yep.
And I'm on this road all the time. It's just kind of one of those when I'm going to do my pop-up volunteering or whatever. This is just a neighborhood I'm in a lot. And I'm driving in the left-hand lane of, again, they're both going the same direction. And by the way, what happened doesn't even affect me. That's what makes this so even more embarrassing. But I see a work van, like well ahead. So this road is not like a strode. It's not like how I describe Aurora, which is like really busy with tons of businesses and just activity or whatever. It's by a reservoir. It's like in a park. And it's just kind of like a quiet little kind of residentially area. There is a grocery store nearby, you know. So, but anyway, it's just a place where you should drive a little bit more carefully. And I do. And the older I get, I drive very slowly around parks and everything like that.
Do you know... I'm sorry to interject.
Go ahead. No, please. Save me from myself.
That exact street you're talking about, probably right where you were, was where that crazy crime went down, where that dude shot like a chef who was driving home. You probably remember this story.
How long ago am I thinking?
This would have been like maybe now it's probably 5-10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. There were 2 guys sitting at a stoplight on 12th, right where you are, and one guy shot the other guy. And because of like a road rage incident, but they couldn't figure out who did it.
I don't know.
And
the
story. Guy who had done it was otherwise seemingly a very normal dude. I think he worked in software, and he then did all this crazy stuff where he tried to get he changed like the rims on his car, he repainted his car, all this stuff. This all came out in the investigation afterwards. But maybe the guy was a wine steward, like a beloved wine steward who worked at like QFC and was just driving home. And it was a big story. But
I don't know how I totally missed that.
But anyway, all that is to say, I don't know, that road.
So there's that road,
that thing happened.
So it's so just so folks know, it's not like a super busy, congested area or anything. It's just this road, and so I'm driving in the left-hand lane. There's traffic in front of me. We're all just driving at very moderate speed or whatever it's supposed to be, say 30 miles per hour. And then off of one of these side roads, because there are some intersections, but it's the side roads have to stop for you. We're a main thoroughfare. Some work van. And this is well ahead of me. This is at least 1 car ahead of me, so he's not cutting me off. And I'm just going to assume it's a he. This work van just comes tearing out in front of traffic, cuts off the car in front of me, and just goes into the right-hand lane. So this van is coming from the left, cuts across a lane of traffic, and just like it looked like A-Team style driving. I was like, what in the world is going on? And then it like speeds up really fast on this road and then cuts back over the left-hand lane, cutting off another car.
I don't like anything about this.
And I'm just like, what is going on? That is bananas. And again, I wasn't even like, unfortunately, some of my road rage triggers have to do with like when I feel like you didn't respect my my space or whatever. This had nothing to do with me. I was just like, this is nuts and very dangerous. And then we're all sort of waiting at a light. The van is maybe a couple of cars ahead of me, and then the light changes, and the van kind of speeds up and then takes this hard left onto another side street, and then as I'm passing the side street is just like so far away so quickly. And it's one of those roads, Luke, where we talk about that has little roundabouts with little signs to say like slow the flock down or whatever. And I just like, these are roads
I hate
that
those signs. One of my number one things I hate is people putting those signs in roundabouts.
There are cars parked on either sides of these types of roads, so they're like very residential.
Yeah.
One car can pass through, and this van is just
Dangerous.
like ripping down. And so I do something that is not very safe, which is
Rip after him?
No, I didn't rip after him, but I grabbed my phone and just quickly out my side window, I just blindly tried to take a couple of shots. And I'm like, maybe I'll get a photo of that van, because what was on the side of this van
was
a huge phone number. A huge phone number. It was some sort of cleaning company.
Okay.
And I'm like, there's no
Take
way.
them to the cleaners.
There's no way like I actually got that number because the van was so far away from me. But the cameras on phones are really incredible these days. And I just enhanced when I was at a stoplight. And I was like, I'm going to call this number and just tell them, listen, you have somebody who's driving your van like a maniac in a residential area. And I even said, I'm like, I feel weird leaving this message. In fact, it's this cleaning company. It's like Shine and Bright or something like that. And when I call, it's the only time I've ever called a company and not wanted to talk to somebody live.
Right.
I'm like, I feel like snitching. I need to get this off my chest. But also, I am so embarrassed in the moment that I'm even doing this. Like, who am I? Let people live their life, even if they're assholes. Like, why do I feel the need to police this? I can't believe you have my back on this, really. Because I just feel like this is I told my dad this. I'm like, Dad, he's like, of course you should call. I'm like, Dad, yeah, but you're the only person who feels that way other than me. Yeah, he texted
we decided it was important for us to present a unified front to you.
You've both been great role models to me. But anyways,
love you, son.
So I'm driving in the car and now I'm on speakerphone. My car is plugged in, right? Or my phone is plugged into the car, so we're all one singularity in there. And so I call, but I'm just like, please don't actually let a human being pick up. Just send me to a voicemail where I can just leave this in voicemail purgatory and nobody will ever hear it. But I end up getting the nicest, friendliest phone tree recording you could possibly imagine. And now I immediately love this company. And by the way, I wasn't calling to yell at the company, just to let them know, hey, you might want to know that somebody is driving like a maniac with your phone number on the side of the van.
I think it's reasonable.
But there's something so unbelievably likable about this company from the moment you reach their phone tree. It's just kind of like, hey, I know that these things are annoying, but we just have a couple of new options and we're going to get you exactly where you need to go. And like the person who's leaving the outgoing message to us, the people calling the company, is so nice and bubbly and like apologetic for making you go through this phone tree. I'm like, if I ever need anything cleaned, I'm calling these folks. I already like their vibe. And so they give me the phone tree gives me all kinds of options of who I can like talk to or whatever. And I'm like, and then at the very end, they're like, or if you don't know which option is right for you, just hit 0. We'll hook you up with somebody right now. And I'm like, all right, I'll just hit 0.
Hit 7 for Lightning McQueen. Lightning McClean. That one cleaning person who likes to basically go full Dukes of Hazzard on it.
Lightning McLean. If that's not the name of today's show, it'll be the name of the show I'm recording with Hannah after this.
Jim Tan Laundry, which is from the Jimothee, Tanathee, Laudrathee. That's just been going through my brain for like 3 days. I don't even know what it means.
Because
had to get it out. Well, because on Jersey Shore, they used to always talk about GTL, Jim Tan Laundry.
Yeah.
But Jimothee
is what's triggering that in your brain.
Jimothee, and I've been trying to make Jimothee, Laudrathee,
I actually
Tanathee
like that. That might be a good show title, actually. I actually like that a lot. I think we had a Jimothee title the other day. Move over, Rover, let Jimothee take over.
Oh, yeah, because we're talking about Jimmy. Oh, that was good. I meant to tell you, because that was like, you were working the Jimi Hendrix thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
I like that.
So I'm already like, oh, please don't anybody pick up. And thankfully, I get a voicemail line saying, hey, I'm the office manager. I'm not at my desk right now. Leave me a message. Now, I don't want them to call me back or anything. I just say, hey, I just thought you should know that there's somebody driving your van like really erratically and dangerously around this neighborhood I'm in. I'm kind of in the Roosevelt neighborhood around 12th and 75th or something, and I feel really weird leaving this voicemail, but I don't know. I said maybe somebody stole your van, but if not, you might want to know that somebody's like driving it pretty erratically. And I think I kind of apologized, but I didn't leave a phone number or anything. I was just kind of like sheepishly left this. By the time I got home, and I don't know why, maybe my phone was in my pocket, maybe I didn't plug it back into my car for the rest of the trip. I don't know what it was. I got a Jimmy John sandwich, Luke, yesterday on the fly.
What do you go with?
Well, it was only like my second time in a Jimmy John's, and so I was kind of nervous. I just don't know why I get nervous when I have to order something, but I'm trying to read the board as fast as possible. I don't want to hold up the
Too many
line.
options.
And so I got the number 7. It was like an Italian sub with no cheese.
Yeah, I
good.
really like their veggie, but they always want to put avocado on it.
Oh.
And I don't feel like avocado belongs on a kind of a sub sandwich for me. That's a different flavor profile than what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also the texture. You got to make sure that you're into that texture.
Totally. Texturally, it's a problem. And what happens is I'll order it, and I want everything on there except avocado. And it's complicated because they have this whole part of the board that's like extras or whatever, and it's like I want everything except I don't want the avocado. But then they're like, "But do you also want the peppers?" Yeah, I want the peppers. You want the pickles? Yeah, I want the.
Can you just say everything but the avocado?
That seems like it would work, and yet I find myself at talking into the Jimmy John's in like Kelso, Washington has a drive-through, and I will occasionally hit it. I feel like I'm always having to 5 easy pieces it for some reason. Who knows why?
Well, Anyway, so I go into Jimmy John's, which is why I unplug my phone from my car, I guess, and then my phone is in my pocket. By the time I get home, let's say 10 minutes later or whatever, I have this waiting for me. Oh boy.
Hey, Andrew, this is from. I'm the business manager, and just wanted to say thank you so much for letting us know about what you saw with one of our vehicles. And unfortunately, it wasn't stolen, or fortunately, I don't know. But yeah, I am able to see that one of my installers was there, and we will absolutely have a discussion with him, or more. So. Thank you very much.
Or more. I mean, this is where the fantasy of just feeling like this person shouldn't be on the road and there should be some sort of accountability runs right against the reality of, did I just get somebody in life-changing trouble? Because if so, I don't feel great about that.
I honestly stand by the decision to call. I know what you're talking about, which is sort of like you're like the dog that caught the car. You're like, oh wait, I didn't think that they were going to get fired for this. But on the other hand, that is dangerous.
Yeah, and it was really appalling. It was terrible.
This driver being dangerous in this way, and the part that really got me is the parked cars along the street. That's a recipe for a kid walking out from between those, or a pet, or something.
Yeah, and it really was
really uneasy.
The van almost seemed like, I can't explain, or I can't sort of underscore enough how the van was moving like a van in an action movie. You know what I mean? It almost felt like when it took this one corner, you felt like it was going to fishtail out, and it didn't. But it was just it was pretty egregious. But I don't know.
I've got the photograph. I'm on the website of this company now.
Okay, just so you know, I'm going to beep the name of the actual company and the name of that person in that voicemail I just played for you.
So and I'm not going to give the name either if we're trying to be a little bit, keep it a little vague. But I'm on their website now, Andrew, based on the me hearing the unbeeped name of the company. And what they have is a staff photo. And now I'm playing a game where I'm looking at, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's maybe 13 staffers standing in front of one of their trucks. And I'm trying to figure out which one of these mofos, which one of these look like the kind of person who would be driving in a dangerous way. I honestly do not have any problem with you making that call, and also with the potential outcome of this person not being able to drive. I mean, my guess is that they will get reprimanded, and I don't know what or more means.
I know, but isn't that an incredible thing to hear at the end of that voicemail?
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
I really want to know what or more actually what that could possibly mean. But yeah, I think if I don't even like. Why am I? I hate this saying. Why am I going to amplify it? But it's like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, drive a work vehicle in a dangerous way on a residential street, and like, yeah, you should get in trouble for that.
I mean, with a huge phone number on the back of the van. I mean, that's the amazing thing. Have you seen those cars that have the stickers? Maybe we've even talked about it, but there are work cars now that they don't even say, like, I can only drive up to a certain limit. It says car speed monitored by GPS, which is basically just saying, hey, listen, my bosses are watching. Don't ride my ass. There's nothing I can do here.
Yeah. I see that often now on the road. Just basically like, leave me alone. They don't let me drive this thing any faster.
Right, yeah, which I also wonder if it's kind of like the new driver stickers, if some people are just getting them because they just want to be passive drivers and have people leave them alone.
I mean, I learned recently that I think I am a bit of a Hans Moleman. Like, because Becca, in the kind way that she tends to, while we were driving, or somehow the conversation of driving came up, and I said something like, well, I'm pretty slow driver. She goes, oh, yeah, I know. I know. And I realized that I think I drive too slow for her liking. And particularly when we're in, when we're in like parking lots or anything like a residential street, I like honestly will drive like 10 miles an hour.
Sure.
Because I just get like, I just don't want to hit anything, and I'm not in that big of a rush to get to Target or whatever. And so I don't think I even realized. I can see it would be maddening if there's some. By the way, I'm a terrible, terrible backseat driver. When I'm in the passenger seat and Becca is driving, I have a really hard time not kind of weighing in on like that. Not so much the speed, but like, oh, look out for that other car, or look out for. My big one is I always am worried we're going to hit a pedestrian, and I will say to her like, oh, look, there's somebody crossing the street right there, and she'll go, I've never hit a pedestrian in my life.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like she's been driving for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And has never hit a pedestrian, but I am constantly terrified this might be the first time. We were driving, we were down in Salem in her car, and we were driving on like not quite the freeway, but definitely something more strody than you were describing. And there was somebody who was just crossing. This is in an area of Salem where you have kind of a city park, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of unhoused people that kind of hang out in the park and kind of, they're crossing. This was a part of this street that you should not be crossing. It had a big concrete divider in the middle, and they're kind of coming out of the blue. Like, this is not designed for crossing this street. And cars are going kind of fast, and this guy is crossing the street also, it's a downhill. So he is crossing the street at a point on the street where you might not even see him fully and clearly.
If you're cresting the hill, you could come over that. Yeah.
We're kind of driving sort of up this hill where I clock this dude who is kind of dealing with some stuff and is crossing this road that is like totally not where you're supposed to be doing this. And so I like say to her, like, okay, there's a guy down there. And she goes, I see him. And I was like, okay, it's just that. This is not where people should cross. There's low visibility. And I really do not want to witness somebody getting hit by your car. She's like, yeah, again, never hit a person in my life. Feel pretty confident I'm going to continue not hitting people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know. I'm like, I want to turn that part of it's obviously a control issue, but but anyway.
If it only happened that one time, then it would be like, it's dark. It's got all of these various circumstances like the hill. And like, if it was the first time you ever just said, whoa, do you see that person up there? Like, that's dangerous or whatever.
I do it a lot.
But if you're doing it a lot, then it kind of, that's where it probably
I don't like
loses
it about
its impact.
myself, but I literally can't stop myself sometimes because I just feel like, what
if the time you don't say it, something happens?
And there have been, I can't give you the exact example, but like there have been a couple times where I didn't say something because I'm trying to be better about it, and and then we almost like get into a situation. A situation doesn't happen, maybe brakes are slammed upon or swerves are happening, and it's one of the times where I was like intentionally not saying something, and then I'm mad that I didn't say something.
Once again, I'll just say that Swerve is a terrible name for a driving school, yet it seems to be one of the premier driving schools in this part of the country.
Is that still, that's
I see these cars that are just like Swerve Driving School. I think our friend Gus went there, by the way. Phyllis had let me know. I've never been in a car with Gus before. I hope he's not swerving all over the place.
What I was going to say there is like, are driving schools even still a thing? But I guess that's one of the few jobs that can't be replaced by AI currently.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Once we have self-driving cars, I guess the driving schools, that's going to be a bad day for the driving schools. But it just feels like you know what it feels like to me is old Seattle. Speaking of Roosevelt, when I was growing up, the section of Roosevelt that runs between like Ravenna and the University District proper, where there's that like a garishly yellow Indian restaurant, and there's like a DOL, like a Department of Licensing kind of place where you can get your tags and everything. You know that?
Yes, on Roosevelt. Yes, I know exactly.
Yeah, by where Cafe Racer used to be.
I used to get my tags there all the time.
Driving that road, there was also like a house that had been converted into a driving school. And I forget what it was called, but I would just go by it all the time, and it just seemed like peak 1990s Seattle to me. It's the summertime. Maybe I've been playing pickup basketball over at Marshall or at Green Lake. I'm in my Honda. I'm driving down Roosevelt. I see this driving school. It's got, a 90s looking Seattle dude in his 40s who's getting into a driving school car with the student.
Yeah.
It feels anachronistic to me for some reason. But, I mean, kids still need to learn how to drive. And another thing I learned in my teenagedom is that is a real crucible. The biggest fights I ever got into with my mom were when I was trying to drive before I got my license. So I have my learner's permit, and I'm driving the station wagon, and my mom is in the passenger seat and is probably doing to me what I now do to Becca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just being freaked out about it. Like, do you see that? Do you see
freaked out by everything.
Yeah. Now, did
my
you
mom
do
was
that?
by the way, multiple accidents, all which proved to be her fault.
Did you do that with Adelaide when she was a kid?
I do not remember. Well, first of all, she didn't get her license until she was like, I think she was like 18.
Okay, yeah.
When she got her
similar.
license.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe she just figured it out. I was shocked that she didn't want to get her license on her 16th birthday. I feel like that's really generational. I feel like our generation, I don't know how it was for you in Ohio, but my generation of folks in Seattle, you went to the DMV on your birthday and you got that license. It was like a rite of passage and you were psyched about it. And then I feel like Addie's generation, no one was in a big hurry to get their license. I think because the culture of driving kids to things had changed. I think it was a much more ride-based world.
You mean kids were? I was like Addie. I waited until I was late 17, maybe 18, maybe not 18, because I was driving in high school. My senior year, I finally got my license. I think for me, though, was because so many of my friends were 1 year older than me.
Right.
So I had just like all of my friends were driving my ass around, something that you would become familiar with 20 years later. But like everybody just had their license already. They were just driving me around. I was just a passenger princess, as you like to say. And that was like, that was fine with me. So I didn't have a real urge to get my license either. But I know what you mean about like culturally speaking, though, people were just like, it was a sense of freedom. Like when I am 16, then the leash, if it doesn't break, it gets much, much longer.
I remember it being 15 years old, and it was Christmas, and my buddy Peter Williams, who was 1 grade ahead of me, so he was 16 already. I remember him calling me on Christmas morning and being like, "You will not believe this shit." He's like, "What'd you get for Christmas?" I was like, "I don't know, some socks, some whatever." I was like, "What did you get?" He goes, "I got a car."
Oh my God.
His parents had gotten him, and it was a used car. It was it was like a used Toyota something, or maybe a used Honda something. But I remember I was going to say he sent me a picture of the car keys, but this was before cell phones, so no, he didn't. I just no, you didn't, Oprah. I just remember, for some reason I remember that they hung the key to the Toyota, which still had the little tag from the car lot, and it was, I'm sure, again, this was a used car. It wasn't they gave him some fancy flashy thing, but I remember they hung it on the Christmas tree as an ornament. And after he'd opened his other gifts, they said, "There's one more you might want to go check out."
Oh my God.
And I was like, our lives have changed.
Our lives begin today.
Our lives begin today. And I was like, get your ass over here. And he drove
Where are we
directly to my house.
going? It doesn't matter.
Guess where we went?
Oak
Tree Village. Went to Oak Tree Village, where I feel like Larry's Market was for some reason open, even though it was Christmas Day. And Oak Tree Cinema was showing movies. And we went to a movie
nice.
Just because we could.
And you kept your feet on the damn floor.
Yes. Exactly.
The way God intended at the movie theater. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's like a core memory. It's not even me getting a car. It's my best friend who now will drive us anywhere we want to go. Him getting a car was almost as good as me getting a car.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week, I hope that it's from a female. Oh, man. It's not from a female.
We never got to a duress code, but the short of it is, you can apparently you can put a piece of software on your phone that like means that if you're going through customs, as this dude was going into Atlanta, and they want to confiscate your phone, or they want to get into your phone to see what's on it, which, by the way, seems very dicey to me as a thing. This guy in Atlanta said that the reason that he was on some sort of like watch list was because he's been in opposition to, do you know what the whole story on Cop City is?
No.
Oh, it's this ridiculous, I think pretty ridiculous proposal sort of outside of Atlanta to turn this big area that's like, I think a nature preserve now and other stuff into just like this giant like police training academy place. And it's been very pushed back on by people in that area, and they call it Cop City sort of derisively. This guy's been anti-Cop City. Sounds like he's probably a fairly progressive dude. He gets through the airport. Customs says, hey, we need to see what's on your phone. What's the code? And this part is just so kind of badass. He gives them the code. They hit the code. It deletes his phone.
Wow.
It wipes his entire phone.
Wow.
Which is, I think, just friggin' James Bond City.
Yes.
I kind of love it. Like,
and if you have this technology and you know you're willing and ready to use it in a situation
just
like
a
this,
cyanide pill for your phone.
You must also have secured and backed up everything on your phone. I mean, our phones do a lot of that anyway. You and I are like more like casual users of it, but even us, if something happened to our phone, we can find a lot of our information. But I'll bet you if you have this type of device, this sort of nuclear code device, you're making sure that you are set up so that you can, in the moment, wipe your phone without wiping out your life.
Yeah, if you went to the trouble of getting this thing on your phone, you're probably making some kind of backup plans. But now he's being charged with like destruction of evidence and all. And it's sparked this legal question, which is, and unfortunately, it seems like he is technically on the wrong side of this based on, I guess, prior case law in the Constitution or whatever.
Nuts.
Now, what what I was reading in this particular article was like a lawyer was saying, if he thought Customs was going to, or Border Patrol, whoever it is, if he thought that they were going to look through his phone and he nukes his phone like as he's getting off the plane, that's totally fine. But when they ask you, you've destroyed evidence because they've asked you to see your phone, and now you've nuked it.
I kind of hate that makes sense.
I know. I hate it as well. But I love how cinematic it is. I love the look, the befuddled look on the faces of these jackbooted thugs working for whatever it is. I don't know if it's not really TSA. I don't know if it was Borders and Customs or whoever, but like, I love the idea of like one of these, and he's just gonna be a guy in my mind, and he's punching in he's like, give us the passcode, and he punches it in, and then just like there's some little freaking V for Vendetta Guy Fawkes mask shows up. I don't know why it's that.
Well, I do, but
I guess.
Is there any defense to this? Like, is there a defense? Is there a legal argument called the "you're punching yourself" defense, or "I'm not touching you" defense? Because I feel like I didn't destroy evidence, my friend.
You did.
You did.
You punched in the
you punched in the code.
I feel like, can't you plead like, I have no idea why that happened? Like,
yeah.
You just be like, what did you do to my phone?
Okay, how about the "what a world" defense?
There you go.
What happened?
I've tried that in various courts.
What a world. Everything just deleted.
What a world. I know. Can you believe
That's
it?
what, I mean, honestly, I didn't realize what I was doing there, but what I'm doing there is I'm telling you what Genevieve and I are shouting at the television every time we watch Columbo. Because and I've said this to you on the show before, like, the Columbo villains, I love that show, but the worst thing about it is the villains always decide they want to play a cat and mouse game with Lieutenant Columbo. And it's kind of like when Columbo's like, well, what I don't understand is why would the vase be on the other side of the room? I mean, I was in here and it wasn't over there. And then all the person has to say is, I don't know. What a world. If you have any info on that, let me know. But instead the suspect is kind of like, well, I mean, sure, there's a very reasonable explanation, Lieutenant Columbo. I mean, I know what it was. She was probably cleaning and moved the vodka. And you're just like, shut up, dude. Not your job to solve this for Columbo. Like, just say, I don't know. It's not your job to give him possible solutions. Drives me bananas. Do you know that?
The What a World defense. I love it.
I think I've told you before that Genevieve and I, we're not starting any more podcasts, but I'm done starting podcasts. But it's such a good idea. And I don't want anybody to steal it because I'll just be jealous. But like Genevieve wants to call it something along the lines of like the Columbo lawyer, where basically it's a Columbo recap podcast, but Genevieve is representing, like in her role as podcast host, she is advising and representing the suspects throughout the show and say, like, at this moment, you do not want to say what you're going to say. Here's what I want you to say to Lieutenant Columbo, and just give them advice, because they're just like they can be so clever and set up the perfect crime. And then they just feel the need. I guess the point is like Columbo is a way
do not take the field sobriety test.
Well, that's
say, I do not answer questions. Request your lawyer, and then that's it. Zip it.
1-800-DUIOA. It turns out the bases weren't the only thing that was loaded. All right, do you want to play a quick voicemail here?
Touchdown!
I have a voicemail here. I have no idea what it is. I saved it months and months ago. It's just been knocking around this folder I have. It says it's from somebody who didn't leave their name. Anon is how I slug that. And it says dance recital. Would you like to hear a story about dance recital from Anon? Sure you would.
This would be a great way to go into the weekend.
Hey, Luke. Hey, Andrew. I just wanted to recount an event from my weekend. My daughter's in a new middle school this year, and so I'm trying to do everything I can to foster the friendships she is making, which includes going to sit through the 3-hour dance recital of one of her buddies on a Saturday in Maine, one of the first nice days we had. Anyway, I had so much respect for all those little dancers. They did great. But the high point of my experience was when a bunch of little girls came out dressed in sparkly racing suits. And all of a sudden, they started tap dancing to Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts from the Disney movie Cars. Power out.
That voicemail must have come in around the time when we were talking about that song a lot, because I did not realize that Rascal Flatts had covered it.
It was a cover of Tom Cochrane.
That's right. I thought it was going to be, because it had been so long since I heard that, I thought it was going to be Scatman. That would be something. That came up in my feed yesterday, and I hate to bring this up, but at least I'm doing it at the end of the show. I didn't know that Tim Robbins has gone off the deep end.
No.
Yes.
What?
So
did I see him? I saw a clip of him on Rogan.
That's the problem.
But he wasn't. With the clip I saw, he wasn't saying anything kooky. He was just talking about his career. But does he also end up saying kooky stuff?
Yes. Does
friend he think Jimothee was an inside job?
Our friend Norm Charlatan posted a screenshot from, I don't know what the publication is here. Oh, Fox News. Of course, the headline is Tim Robbins turns to ayahuasca after feeling, quote, consumed by anger over cancel culture. And Norm said,
I like the turns to ayahuasca part.
Yeah. Norm says,
Can we just get him the Roku screen? Hey, Tim, take some ayahuasca and look at this for the next 3 hours.
The reason I bring it up is Norm tweeted this or posted this with the sentence, this is what happens when you have nothing to lose. And then a bunch of people started posting the gif of Tim Robbins dancing to Scatman John and Nothing to Lose. I think that's people's on-ramp for that song. He's like not dancing to it. He's like, his feet are on fire or something. They're like, Scatman's World plays a big role.
In a Scatman's World video?
In the movie Nothing to Lose, there's a scene where they use that song. And are you looking for it now? And Tim Robbins is like, I've never seen the movie, but I know from our Scatman John discourse that this is what a lot of people associate that song with. Can you play it? And tell me?
Okay. So it's Nothing to Lose, which looks like it also has Martin Lawrence in it. I knew this movie was a thing back in the day. It looks 1997. This is described as Spider Scatman scene.
Oh, it's a spider. Right. Okay.
So,
what? There's a spider on your head.
Martin Lawrence and Tim Robbins are driving in a car. Obviously, Martin Lawrence is telling Tim Robbins there's a spider on his head.
Sorry, I'm not up on all this jive-talking homeboy lingo. What's that supposed to mean? There's a spider
Probably cancel whoever wrote that line.
Yeah, right.
on your head.
It means there's a spider on your head, man.
Well, get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
It's got a giant, huge black spider on his head.
I ain't touching that shit! Get it off! 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 Get it off!
Yo, that's a big spider.
Martin now has a high 8 video camera that he's now filming the spider with. Crawls onto Tim Robbins' face. Jumps out of the car.
I'm a scat man.
Somebody posted underneath this GIF,
okay,
you will never laugh harder in your life than you will at this scene.
Hold on, let me focus. Let me focus on this shit.
Oh, and then he steps on a book of matches that somehow lights not one of his feet, but both of his feet on fire.
So there is fire.
We are absolutely at the edge of what I would say pyrotechnics could sort of occur in this scenario. I don't think stepping on those books of matches certainly wouldn't light both feet on fire, but anyway, that's the world we're in. So now he's basically getting hot-footed. Both of his feet are on fire, and he's dancing the Scatman. Oh, wow. He calls it the hot foot.
There you go.
Martin does. That is remarkable. I can't believe that at some point Durs hasn't deployed that in the... I was so sad that Emerson Hancock had such a bad game the other night because I was all ready to send Will Smith as Hancock.
Oh, sure.
Will Smith was in some
yeah.
one of those superhero movies, but he's
it's
kind of like a messed up superhero called Hancock.
And he drinks a lot, right?
He sleeps on benches or something. He doesn't have full control of his superpowers. I was like, oh my gosh, I found a funny Hancock meme that I'm going to drop on the boys as Emerson cruises into the 7th inning and another quality start.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't work. I could see that Tim Robbins thing being something that somehow shows up in the chat. That's really great.
Yeah. So anyway, but the Tim Robbins stuff is a bummer. I was very curious, so I wanted to read what he said.
He doesn't like cancel culture.
Basically, yeah. It's so it's all this news is coming out of this Rogan interview he did, but the whole Rogan thing, I took ayahuasca to get in touch with myself, and he feels he was in touch with the spirit of his mother when he was at this ayahuasca retreat or whatever, all this woo-woo kind of stuff. But then, of course, the cancel culture stuff is what Fox News wants to write about, and there's pretty unhinged quotes from him just sort of saying he was touring the Eastern Bloc or something, and he was talking to the people who live there about what they appreciate most about freedom and how these people who are living in Eastern Europe are concerned about the cancel culture that they're seeing in the United States because it's the closest thing to the authoritarianism that they lived through, and cancel culture is the new authoritarianism. And it's just oh my God. It was just it was definitely quotes taken from a rambling podcast, but it also was just I always had good feelings about Tim Robbins, and now I have bad feelings about Tim
because
Robbins.
he was sort of, what was that mockumentary, Bob Roberts?
Right, yeah.
That was big in my kind of, it was a satire of politics and kind of shot like a documentary,
and he and Susan Sarandon were both big activists, I thought, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so anyway, it's just these men of a certain age get to a point where they just say, you can't say anything anymore. Somebody probably gently corrected him one time on something, and now he feels like he's been canceled. Has he even been canceled? I'm canceling him right now.
I was unaware of his cancellation.
No, I don't think he's been canceled.
I honestly, when I saw that clip of him, because the clip that I saw was him talking about turning down a sitcom role that would have paid him $1 million because he said, I just had a child and they came to me with this sitcom and I couldn't do it because of the child and I was broke. I needed the money, but I just couldn't do it. So that was the context of the clip I saw. And I just thought, oh, Tim Robbins is still around. And he, I'm like, again, I have a generally positive feeling towards him. It's too bad that that's how he's viewing his world, that's the number one thing that he's kind of, or if that drove him to take ayahuasca to heal his mind, that's kind of a bummer because it's like, I just don't think that's the number one issue facing most people today is cancel culture.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, that was, who knows, it's probably a very long interview and that was just the part that Fox News pulled out. But in this text chain, because I jumped in with a comment of mine, because I found another, I was like, what's going on with Tim Robbins? And then I Googled it and there's another thing that's like, Tim Robbins lived on lemon peels and honey for 2 weeks. And
now that feels on brand for him based on my prior thoughts. Like, kooky diet, becoming a breatharian or something like that checks out.
But what I did see, and I don't know who this person was, so I posted that. I said, as Dan Savage would say, it gets better. Tim Robbins lost 25 pounds by consuming only lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup. Is that the ultimate cleanse or something like that?
I think Beyonce did that once.
But somebody wrote underneath the Tim Robbins turns to ayahuasca after feeling consumed by anger over cancel culture. Somebody wrote, "Don't hate the player." Are you familiar with the movie The Player?
That took me a minute.
It's so good. I love the movie The Player, and so I was like, "Oh, damn, that is so good."
I saw The Player at the Crest movie theater up there in Shoreline, across from the bingo hall.
Yeah, God, I haven't been there in forever. I need to go support the Crest, man.
That place I love that it still exists. That was the other, but we would go to the Crest so much. I think I saw Strictly Ballroom there. I definitely saw The Player there. Anyway.
Yeah. That's awesome that you saw that in the theater. I didn't see that until long after it was on video, but I've watched it a bunch of times. That's kind of a little bit of a go-to for me now. Not that I should.
Well, is it ruined for you?
No.
No, because that's not the same Tim Robbins.
And also, like, I'm not going to get that. I mean, this is just like this is for me an eye roll. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. He said this stupid thing in an interview with Rogan. Like, I'm not, I mean, I guess in terms of cancel culture, in my heart, I'm not like, I'm not going to carry this around with me. Like, whatever. People say things all the time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people saying things and then people being done saying things, I think that's probably where we're going to wrap things up today. This brings us to the end of our broadcast week. Thanks, everyone, for spending all these hours with us. We got a weekend to get to, but we're going to be right back here on Monday. Back here in the podcasting mines, shoveling coal. I was kind of mixing my metaphors there, but you get the idea. We're going to be back on that Roku screen, shoveling coal into a locomotive.
Well, now I know how you're spending your weekend.
As part of Throw Mama from the Train.
Are you going to get into are you going to get all annoying into like weed culture and stuff like that? Are you going to be like celebrating 420 and stuff?
I'm thinking of being like a guy who loves everything weed but doesn't smoke it. Wouldn't that be a funny
Are you
going to
be saying like puff, puff, give a lot? Like, I can't handle this era of Luke Burbankism.
My sound check is going to be past the duchy upon the left side. Now.
I can't handle this.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. Please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.